You thought you could get away with it. You think you can just go around saying whatever you want, glazing whoever you want over the internet, and nobody else can have their opinions? I saw your comment. Yeah. You don't know what a Dwfan91 is? I'll tell you what a Dwfan91 is. A Doctor Who fan who likes everything, right? And it's fair.
Just put that in the corner.
There's a lot to like, but when it's bad, you got to be able to call it out. And in my opinion,
what should we shiny hunt? I don't even know what the shiny hunt. I need to. You want to meet my shinies?
To call out the BS of the RTD2 era. Honestly, most of the shows on YouTube.
This is the current shiny lineup I'm running.
Long. And calling out the BS, it took the reality war to where they couldn't sweep anymore. But Dwfan is just my favorite cope artist because I think it's just all incredibly genuine, which makes the tears all more real and just as salty. Like, oh, it's just so beautiful. Let's get into it, but first I want to show off my shiny Pokemon that I have on my Pokemon Scarlet version.
Pachirisu, help me catch stuff. I got this from a friend I met over the internet. Weavile, Robin. Everybody's supposed to have One Piece names, so let's see if that's true. This is my pickpocket Weavile. I have like 6 shiny Weaviles, or shiny Sneasels. I got this, my Dzebek shiny Carbink. Pretty cool. I found this recently. Little Orange Junior. And then I don't like this shiny. I actually think it looks kind of ugly, so maybe we should change it. Marco, the shiny Noctowl, because Ash has a shiny Noctowl. That's why I like this guy. You should be able to fucking move them. Why can't you turn them? Luann. This is my first shiny I caught on the account. My shiny Chansey. I want a shiny out of one of these Terra Raid battles. The very next Terra Raid battle, I got this guy. And I almost lost the raid battle. Shiny Olomomola. This shiny is so nice. Waffles Jr. Shiny Lycanroc. This shiny is rare and very hard to get.
Now, I'm lucky that I was watching with people who love Mel, but in my opinion, I thought she was crap. I thought the whole thing was crap. The CGI set piece reminded me of Season 7 Flash. It was fun. It was fun enough. You know, the flying about set piece, flying, boom, boom, chaka, back, chaka, baka. It's not what I watched Doctor Who for, right? Like, I couldn't care less. It's action for the sake of action. It's epicness without actual scale. It feels so studio bound to me, which meant it all fell flat. The Rani gets eaten unceremoniously. Mrs. Flood runs away to be a mystery box for another day. The boss, holy fucking shit, they're beyond parody. They're still dragging out these mystery boxes. Can I just put a ban on all mystery boxes? Can I just put that here now? Please stop. Omega comes back. He's retconned. Hooray, hooray. Awkward, really lame, ugly design, pretty bad special effect, anti-character, and he's defeated in an unoriginal, bland way where the Doctor says
he didn't like any of it. He didn't like any of it.
back into hell, because do you get it? It's like end of time, because do you get it? This episode is just end of time. If I didn't like end of time, what makes you think that I'd like this episode? This is just end of time, but worse. Sparrow, hooray, hooray! Omega's life is retconned, and then he is turned into a lifeless, skinless husk. Is this a metaphor for something? It perfectly sums up the whole show. I don't know, maybe you need...
He called this whole show a lifeless, skinless husk. It's lifeless. It's cosplay. It's not Doctor Who.
Need to rehire this guy. The 13th Doctor shows up for no thematic reason. My least favourite way cameos are done. The Fugitive Doctor, that cameo was pointless. Susan, that cameo was pointless. Is that all to set up season 3? Is season 3 even gonna happen?
He's a non-believer now. He doesn't believe in season 3 anymore. It's insanity. He doesn't even believe in season 3 anymore. I think it's amazing. Maybe we have to watch all of his reviews in order just to see the deterioration and like, fast forward. This is crazy. He's not even a believer in season 3 anymore. That's insanity, dude. Even I believe in season 3.
Is probably the highlight of the episode. You've got this very cool and sweet scene where the Doctor and Belinda are passing the coat back between each other until it eventually just goes into nothing. Brilliant. Conrad is dispatched with about as much, I don't know, importance that deserved to be given in the first place. He feels like
He is such a Conrad hater, by the way. He is the biggest Conrad hater. I don't know why.
an anti-character. He had no reason to be there. Awkward, terrible crap villain. One of the worst in Doctor Who history. You know when Jack Robertson has you beat? That's when you know that it's rough. Jack Robertson is more subtle than Conrad. Holy fuck. What the shit? Belinda's dad doesn't even get to be seen on screen. The epilogues are so long and drawn out. And the reason the 15th Doctor dies, regenerates, is contrived and bullshit and lame. On the plus side, the direction is masterful. A lot of the shots are incredible. We are pushing the boundaries on special effects. My favourite shot, if I can find it, is this one. Just because on a technical front, it is very impressive. The characters were all incredibly rushed. Yasmin Finney literally appears out of thin air and then contributes nothing. It is a mindfuck of an episode. I could just about make out what was going on, but I didn't care. Wish World is better than this episode by quite a bit, and that is a bad sign. Oh my goodness, that Time Hotel scene. Oh my god. We go back and we have a clip show of all the past episodes, and then Anita sees 15 with Rogue. The implication was that Anita and 15 were romantic, but then he sees 15 with Rogue, and it's implied that their relationship is just so magical that Anita gave up on the Doctor. I don't know if they missed this part, but the clip that they stole from the 11th Doctor, that was from an episode called The Wedding of River Song. Who is she getting married to again? Anita changing her mind here makes no sense because Rogue was before Joy to the World.
He's destroying the logic. What is he doing? Not the logic. No, he pulled out the timeline. No.
Joy to the World also not being a very good episode. I mean, dang. At least Ncuti Gatwa got some great last moments. He's just on top form. He's the stunning star of this episode. He's just brilliant. This is his best performance by far. He is incredible here. I also like the bit where Jodie Whittaker calls him handsome because, I don't know. And you know what? Well done. Well done, Ncuti Gatwa. You came out of this with your pride intact, with your courage intact. You came out looking like a legend. So props to him. Props to Varada Sethu, who gets an exit of all time. Ruby also gets an exit of all time. All of these characters just...
Look, he's just lying, by the way. He just got done explaining how none of the plot made sense. How none of this made sense, and everybody got shafted, and there's too many characters, yet they got the exits of all time. Gatwa went out as a legend. Okay, sure. Sure.
Kind of wander around and walk about, and they all randomly talk. Can I just say something, Rusty Davies? You've said this yourself. Sometimes characters don't need to talk. Sometimes no one else needs to talk in the scene. Sometimes cutting between all of the characters talking, it doesn't feel actually honest. It feels...
They had the greatest exits of all time. All three of them had greatest exits of all time, he said. Dude, I can't think.
Pretty good stuff, pretty fun stuff, and it all comes together to make a semi-enjoyable episode of Doctor Who. But for what it represents, it is, in my opinion, an abject failure, and still better than Lucky Day. I retroactively lower that episode to a 3 out of 10, and I'm going to put this one as a 4.
Doesn't that just prove that his rating system means nothing and his opinions don't mean anything? Because, I don't know, it just proves, he's like, nah, that episode wasn't a 4 out of 10, it's actually a 3 out of 10 now, so it can get worse. You know what I'm saying? So everything can get worse. So, I don't know, it just tells me he doesn't know what he's talking about. But it's like, obviously he's just giving his opinion, but it's like, if you're gonna give your opinion, I don't know. I try to like my opinion to make sense, and like you're just like, it makes sense why you don't like it, but like this was in past episodes. This has been going on the whole time, and you were sleeping for it, and now you're still sleeping for it.
Hooray, huzzah. The reality war. I'm sure we've got so much to talk about here. Oh my goodness. Everything this episode represents is just a shambles. I think as a story, this one is insanely weak, and it can't ever really be that good because it is so derivative and unoriginal. It's basically just copying his own homework. In my rant video, I said that the decision to make Billie Piper the 16th Doctor kind of taints everything, and that's... It depends, right? Spoiler alert, I hate it. I despise it. Never going to change my mind on that. But I still really enjoyed this era, and I will watch the next stuff. And you know what? I'll even watch Rusty Davies' new show that he's working on. Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty interesting. You guys
watch the next Russell T Davies show too. He's gonna watch it up. Of course you're gonna watch it. Who said you weren't gonna watch it? He has all these issues, but they're not that big.
I realize that I like Rusty Davies, right? Like, I like his shows, and I like his stuff. And I like this. I like this. And I liked a lot of it. And that won't change. I didn't like End of Time, but that doesn't mean that I don't love Journey's End and The Stolen Earth, and all of the episodes that came prior. And same here. The reality war, it doesn't... There are parts of it that make me angry. Similarly to how there were parts of The Giggle that made me angry, specifically the last 5 minutes. And the bits that make me angry in The Reality War make me far more angry than The Giggle. But in The Giggle's case, the episode was rather strong. Here, the episode is rather weak. It's just okay. It's kind of a mess. It's kind of just a clusterfuck, is how I'd describe it. But I don't hate it. The episode doesn't make me angry. And I think all anger will pass, you know? Wounds heal. Scars fade. That anger is temporary. And so I don't hate this episode. And I wouldn't even say this episode is really that bad. But for me, as a fan, it's not what I want Doctor Who to be. And this is as a fan of Doctor Who as a whole, as a fan of Rusty Davies, as a fan of Rusty Davies' Doctor Who, and as a fan of this Rusty Davies 2 Doctor Who. As a fan of all of those, separately and together, this is not it. This isn't it. And my fears have been...
Shit. He's a fan of everything, and he was like, this is garbage. This was shit. Shiny Flygon.
Realised, because regardless of the quality of episode, I couldn't give a shit if an episode of Doctor Who is bad. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. People have made bad episodes of Doctor Who in the past. People will make bad episodes of Doctor Who in the future. It doesn't really matter. It just is what it is, right? And in the years to come, it'll be fun to go back, even to bad episodes, give them a rewatch, and just have a laugh, right? That's... What the f***?
Sack Russell T Davies, sack Jane Tranter, sack Phil Collinson, sack Julie Gardner, and I'll come back.
Hooray! In that last video, entitled I'm Concerned for the Season 2 finale, I laid the groundwork for my biggest fear, my biggest fears surrounding this story, which is that less so about the quality of it, less so about the content of the episode, and more so about the tone it sets for all discussion going forward in the next 2 years at least of Doctor Who. And it ends with Ncuti Gatwa.
Neo Gear, what's your problem, dude? What? How is the Devil's Court better than Lux? Better than Mr. Ring-a-Ding? At least Mr. Ring-a-Ding was funny. That episode was funny. From my understanding, the Devil's Court was boring and very homosexual.
generating into Billie Piper as the 16th Doctor. Let me preface this by saying that I am such a humongous fan of Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor. I've loved this era so far. I genuinely have. It was off to a rocky start with the 60th, but I've enjoyed all of Ncuti Gatwa's run, bar maybe one episode. I've loved it. I've been a big fan of Rusty Davies, always and even now. And it feels like a betrayal. I feel particularly hurt as someone who's liked what they've done for so long. I feel particularly hurt. I feel particularly betrayed. I feel embarrassed. I feel like a clown. I feel like a fool. I feel like a clown.
Because we've been saying this is fan fiction. People were saying this is trash, this is dribble, and he just went on and confirmed it, bro. Like, Russell T just confirmed it by doing this stunt cast with a companion as the Doctor? Never. But because it's Russell's, he can do it, right?
I feel like a complete idiot. So, spoilers, I guess, but I hate this. I hate this decision. I hate it. It's what it represents for the show. Every single element of what it represents is just awful. It's just terrible. Okay, let's break it down. What am I talking about exactly? The decision to regenerate Ncuti Gatwa is one that I can understand. Right, he's an actor in high demand. When the Ncuti Gatwa era began, I was always under the assumption that, well, he was only going to do 2 series. I always assumed that. That's what I naturally thought. You can go back to my original videos, and I was saying that he might be one of the
I gotta go back and clip that. I gotta go back. I didn't know he said this lie in this video. I gotta go back and clip him saying Gatwa's not gonna regenerate guys, because if he would, they would advertise it. He said that word for word, I promise. I gotta go back and find that shit. The powers never made sense. None of this Pantheon stuff was created to make sense.
First Doctors who filmed his regeneration before his first episode even aired. Now we don't know if that's true because there are all those rumours about reshoots, but goddamn, I feel like such an idiot. I made a video saying, will Ncuti Gatwa regenerate? No, he won't. Of course they wouldn't. They wouldn't just randomly drop his regeneration episode without any build.
Yeah, okay, there he goes. I was like, he did say that. I guess he did. He just meant season 3, I guess. I don't know why he said it like that. Like, he just admitted to it right now. He said, oh, well, God will regenerate. Like, no, he won't. He said it for sure. No, he won't. They will regenerate. They wouldn't just drop it. They would advertise it.
Up. Okay, so there's layers to this. Skip to here if you want me to go full in deep and rant and rave about Billie Piper and the decision to cast her as the 16th Doctor. Before that, let's talk about the nature of rumours and leaks in Doctor Who. So it's no secret that this series of Doctor Who has been leaked to high heaven. I talked about in a previous video how I have not seen any leaks for the series, and I genuinely believe that to be true until I watched someone else's video on the topic. I watched it yesterday. It was talking about leaks in Doctor Who and how leaks have ruined Doctor Who, and it told me how much of this series had actually been spoiled and ruined for me. I had not read any leaks. I had not seen anything that was marked as a leak. No one told me that what I was reading was a leak, but I did know that The Well was a sequel to Midnight. I assumed that was a rumor. Nope, that was a leak. I was spoiled. Conrad being a villain. The Rani. I didn't think that that was real. I thought that was a meme. I thought that was a joke. We all made the joke that Mrs. Flood is the Rani. When it actually turned out to be true, I thought, wow, that's crazy, not realizing that I had been spoiled. I had been spoiled. And now Ncuti Gatwa regenerating. I thought that was a baseless rumor. It was true. It was true. And the whole
This guy is just living in a bubble world, bro. What world does this guy live in? He's like, wow, that's crazy that the Ronnie just happened to be in it. Wow, Conrad just happened to be a villain. Wow. Yeah, it was a sequel to Midnight. That's cool. He just, what's wrong with him? Only now, he's like, guys, was the season leaked for you? The season was leaked for you guys? What? I can't, bro. I can't sometimes. That's a restart alert.
Whole series and all of the impact of all of these key moments were all robbed from me because of these fakes. And it makes me miserable because last year I didn't get spoiled at all. Yes, we could all kind of guess that Sutekh would be returning, but that's because one of the episodes had a direct homage to the Pyramids of Mars. That one didn't feel spoiled, that felt earned. I had a theory that was based on actual evidence in the text and it was proven right and it felt great. And now, Billy Piper, I thought that was a joke.
Bro, that was his theory. that was his theory that felt great. That was a payoff. He said, oh, I guessed it. Sutekh, I guessed it. The most obvious. I don't know. Oh my god, no, dude. So cringe.
Someone said that as like a real rumor and I instantly dismissed it because obviously it's the worst possible choice you could have. I mean, that is the worst choice, I feel like, to cast a Doctor ever, right? Like even Freema Agyeman, Catherine Tate, Karen Gillan. Karen Gillan might actually be a good Doctor. Billy Piper, it's everything that represents. I have tried to record this a few times, mostly because when I sit here thinking about what to say, I don't have a script, because this is just right after the episode. I'm mostly just sitting here in silence. My brain is bubbling away, but I don't feel anything but sadness and betrayal. There's that anger there, that brief spark, that brief flame that's so entertaining to you guys at home. But the truth is, and the reason I was so nervous about it is exactly this, because it's left me feeling empty. It's left me feeling like an idiot. It's made me the butt of the joke. I'm the Dwfan91. Was the regeneration of Jodie Whittaker into the 14th Doctor, David Tennant. Now again, one can argue about the canonicity of all of it and how did the clothes change and all of these things, and I'm not saying you're wrong for caring about that stuff, just as I say you're not wrong for caring about the Timeless Child and if it breaks canon or not. But again, for me, it is even more obsessed with the past, bringing us right back to David Tennant's 14th Doctor, even more obsessed with the past, even more obsessed with the past. An admission, yeah, this show is washed. Why are you watching it? Watch the old ones are better. That is the meta text of this show. The decision to bring the 14th Doctor back is an admission that all of this stuff since he left is more or less a flop. That's why I hate it, that's what it represents, that's why it sucks. Series 14, again, so many people have different...
He does not name him, he know he's full of shit. I wanted him to give me one episode just so I can go back and be like, I see where he's coming from. But he couldn't even name one episode. And then look, and then he talks about the continual creative decisions that are just crap after crap after crap, and then it culminated into David Tennant for a 5th time or whatever. And he knew that was wrong, but he still said, oh, but the season 1 and season 2 are good, guys, right? He knew that was wrong, but you told them that they can keep doing it because you said it was good. You supported that. So now we're here. Billy Piper.
Different problems with it. I enjoyed it because even though it brought back Sutekh and had the ghoul to play the Pyramids of Mars in a new episode of Doctor Who, it was still something new, or at least it was trying to be. As time marched on, I realised just how derivative it was. And then we get to series 15, sequels to Midnight, sequels to Robot, Think Tank from Robot, The Fugitive Doctor's back, Susan's back, the Rani's back, Omega's back, do you remember clip shows? The 13th Doctor's back, and now Billy Piper's back. It's the bottom of the barrel. It's the last gasp. Doctor Who's final episode before likely cancellation, at best hiatus, is an admission that we need to go back. That this new Russell T Davies era doesn't hold a candle to what came before. On that level, it is a complete and utter failure. Honing in more, diving in more to the specific decision of Billy Piper, I couldn't think of anyone worse. No one. Not one person. I would prefer if Poppy was the next Doctor.
He said Poppy could be the next Doctor. It's gonna get worse. buddy. Don't worry. He can't imagine it, but it was getting worse with Tenet.
Seriously, I can't think of anyone who I'd hate more. I'm sorry. I genuinely can't. Maybe there'll be a few people out there who are positive for this change and like, I remember her, I remember her, I remember her. All of my criticisms for all of the stuff that I've disliked, all of it has led to this moment. It is the end shittification of Doctor Who. I didn't have many problems with Series 1. As time progressed, a lot of my problems that I did have evolved and then were added upon, and then were added upon more and more, and now they've reached the climax here, with Billie Piper becoming the Doctor Who. Oh my god, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. When will I wake up? I hang my head in horror, in utter horror.
If you'd wanted to kill it off with a blow to the throat, you couldn't have done it more, particularly because it's like, for anyone who was of a certain generation, you would just throw your hands in horror at the very idea, you know?
This is just one factor, just to show you how I have about 100 reasons, all of which are incredibly detailed and nuanced, to explain why I despise this decision on every level. But beyond our eyes and ears into the show, Rose is the reason New Doctor Who works. That attitude to character has totally reformed how the show fundamentally operates. And now we throw it all away to say, actually, being the companion, that's not as good. That's subservient. That's inferior to being the Doctor. She's got to be the actual Doctor. She's got to be the real Doctor now. You can't be important unless you're the Doctor. It thought that an actor needs to be the Doctor. How is this possible? Rusty Davies 2, you are somehow the first production team ever to miscast the Doctor twice.
Neo Gear, he's talking about Tenet and Billie Piper because they were previous Doctors. Like, they were previous characters before. I think those are the only two people he miscast. He counts as miscast. But Gat was 100% a miscast.
Because I talked about it briefly last year and it was depressing. It was saddening. And this year it's gotten even worse. 1.5 million. It's the future of TV landscape. You've dropped off almost 100%. You've dropped from 5 million overnights to 1 million overnights. You've dropped off 4 million viewers. Shooting Gatwa's first story was #1 on Christmas Day, topping The King's Speech. Yes, it doesn't reach 10 million, but the figures were good and they were healthy, and you tanked it. You tanked it. Grace Season 3, a middling reviewed, not well liked cop drama on ITV, releasing the same week in its 3rd season, got 1 million more viewers. How mishandled is this series? Every single production oversight. There's too much. There's too much. You reread these old DWMs and you hear Rusty Davies saying how he had to organize 8 episodes because that's what they wanted. Help me. How are they so bad at making this show? How is every decision on a production level so garbage? Everything. Russell T Davies coming back. Everything. It represents age. Decay. The insistence on not letting old things die peacefully, but to bring them back to the surface so we can see the skin melt off their bones as the passage of time relentlessly continues. It is apt that the main antagonist for this episode was a skinless skeleton with no teeth and stinking and smelling and dying, because that is what Doctor Who insists on being. It's not what I... Don't you like seeing David Tennant with all those wrinkles and Photoshop, and he's heaving and hoeing and he can't move like he used to be? Your suit doesn't fit you anymore. Russell T Davies, he came back to tell us that he's not as good as he used to be. How demoralizing.
I told you, he's sad. He's old. He's sad.
Every few years there would be a process of renewal that would shake things up, that would bring in new life. That is what regeneration is supposed to be. And in this era so far, Jodie Whittaker has regenerated into David Tennant. David Tennant has regenerated into David Tennant. And Ncuti Gatwa has regenerated into Billie Piper. An episode that canonizes the looms and the Pythia. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why is Billie Piper the next Doctor? Russell T Davies, heart to heart, mind to mind, I don't know you. I've never claimed to know you. I don't know who you are as a person. I don't know what you act like, what you talk like, what your favorite foods are, but I know how you write. I know your creative voice, and I have been a champion of it as an audience member, as many millions of us have been. So just tell us why. Why did you think that this would be a good idea? It represents the death of the show. But those are...
He's broken. He is so broken, bro. And then the last video I have by Dwfan here. It's a 2-hour video. We're not gonna listen to the whole thing, probably, most likely, unless I don't know. I just start shiny hunting like a fiend. I join some people. I don't know. But the beginning of it is very Kino. He's ranting. It's a little more of what he said. It's a lot of actually what he said in his Rose rant video. But there's another person to bounce off of. So.
It's absurd.
It's just the most depressing for me, because I was such a champion of this era, and then it falls into the pitfalls that we all were kind of worried it could, but we have faith that it won't just...
He was so good right now. He was just talking about how he was like, I always want to talk about the new current season with people, but nobody watches it.
Eventually, but he has no interest in watching the new stuff. So like, I've had no one to talk to about like you know any of this. So I've got a lot of thoughts. It's probably the finale and regeneration
back to me
that I thought about the most.
Yes,
it's great.
There's I mean, you say that, but then you actually look at the episode proper, and there's a hell of a lot there as well. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's weird, right? Because like every finale and every regeneration, I feel like almost basically immediately, right? Maybe like 2 days after, it's kind of like, you know, that happened, right? I just move on, right? I move on with my life like a regular human being. This one has been completely different. Like this one, I've been thinking about for the past few days since it happened, and I'm actually like annoyed by it, right? Like maybe not the finale itself, but the handling of shooting out this doctor. It's something that's really annoyed me.
Has broken me. I feel it's safe to say that the reality war has just... I'm a veteran of the reality war. It is... oh my god. You guys don't understand, right? I have never felt this way before after, as you say, a regeneration episode, because usually this is my favorite time to be a fan. Right?
Yeah.
I am always... my favorite parts of a new Doctor era are its start and its end. Even if the end is bad, I don't care, right? Because it means a new step forward, new stuff to be excited about, and just that kind of buzz that you get from the start. Again, it's like the full wheel has turned. But, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this later on, but I don't know about you, but I don't think there is anything new after this.
No, I don't think so. And I think as well, what's even more devastating is I think this era had so much promise. Like, it had so many ideas, so many cool...
I think this era had promise, he said. And they've given up. They said there's no season 3, guys.
Cool ideas.
It literally reset.
Like,
man.
yeah.
It literally is a reboot.
That's what it's meant to be, right? It's series 1 or season 1 or whatever, right? Disney Who or whatever, like people want to call it, right? This is the new era. We've got this, we've got this, we've got that, right? Last series, right, we had Sutek, right? Which, of course, old villain, right? But I think it works. Like, you don't need to know who Sutek really is from the classic era to feel like, you know, this guy's threatening.
Yeah,
Like, the guy's called the God of Death, right? You can understand that. This time round, I don't know. Like, the name Omega, right, doesn't... I don't know. If you're a classic viewer, then of course,
they weren't even new to the show. They've watched every series, right, of Doctor Who, which is a lot. It's 15 seasons, right?
Yeah.
That's the investment. And not only did they have no idea, the first reaction to his name is, if he's the first Time Lord, shouldn't he be called Alpha? Because, like, obviously, I don't understand this retcon bullshit to make him the first Time Lord. His name is Omega, right? And rant aside, right, all of that, the point is, if you've watched 15 series of a TV show, you should not be at the point where you're still lost. You know what I mean? Still?
Yeah.
20 years into the show, and people who followed and watched every episode, they still don't know what's going on. Like, at a certain point, why are we still holding... The Rani A, the Rani was not popular when she came out, right? And B, that was 40 years ago in like the least popular time of the show, right? Why is...
To be fair, there's so much ideas in Gawa Arrow. Like when a Who RTD, it would be amazing. That's what he's kind of talking about right now. It's like there's so many ideas. That's why people are just like, they're still lost. It's like, can we develop one idea, take it to its logical conclusion, then move on to another one? No.
That being brought back up, and if that was going to be brought back up, you've got to do a hell of a lot of work to make it actually important. You can't just randomly drop it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
In season 2 of a reboot. Okay, so we're talking about this reboot thing, right? Do you know what it is? Literally, again, it's the TV movie again. It's all of the same problems that the TV movie had.
There's another fucking doctor there.
Yeah,
there is literally another doctor.
right? Yeah.
Surely that's got to be like, how does that not come into the plot? How does that not affect it?
You know what I find kind of saddening, right? People say, oh, well, maybe he was off-world. Am I the only one who is equally, if not more, interested in a series where the Doctor and Donna are off-world trying to get back to May 24th than I would be for this Doctor and Belinda, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but that is just more intriguing because I care. Doing all of this timeless shenanigans, no one fucking cares, bro. Like, if I don't care, imagine, like, a new audience. It's just complete nonsense.
Well, exactly.
This is coming from someone, Rusty Davies, who said the Timeless Child was too wordy. I mean, I agree.
Like, yeah.
But, like, how do you...
Yeah. And the thing is with the Rani, right? Setting her up, like, my eyes rolled when that reveal and that awful God by Generation at the end. Especially because Anita Dobson...
than the Billy Piper effect, somehow.
But because Anita Dobson... She should have been the main one. She was I'm not like, I don't talk about people's acting, right, necessarily, unless it's like egregiously bad. But I was way more invested in...
We don't want to criticize anybody in media. We never want to criticize anybody in media. That'd be terrible.
Actually, you know what's crazy? All of this stuff that we're talking about, I might be able to... obviously, I'd still have problems with it, but I might be able to, like, give it a slight pass if it didn't immediately backtrack and say, actually, you guys were right, this does start Billy Piper.
Unfortunately, Shooty Gatwa, maybe he's got other opportunities or whatever. He doesn't want to go forward with being the Doctor.
I heard
He isn't
the
going to go
rumour
forward.
that apparently Shooty Gatwa had to turn down a perfume commercial that would have paid more than his entire tenure as Doctor Who. And he had to turn that down because he was committed to Doctor
Who. You believe this, Neo Gear? He said Gatwa had to turn down a perfume commercial, or he's putting a show for a perfume commercial. You believe this nonsense? It paid more than all of Doctor Who, which makes sense because you look at Gatwa's acting.
To like Omega, who's on screen for less than 3 minutes. He's not the same character. It's just the name. He's got the same name.
Yum yum.
Yeah. Yeah. He eats the fucking Rani. Like, it's unbelievable. He's not the same character. He just has the name.
Well, it's because it's meant to represent, the original sin, because Time Lords are now meant to be colonialists, and so Omega's being reinvented into all of that, which maybe would be a decent idea if you wanted to do a different character. Personally, I don't think it's a good idea in general. And then Omega was like, I need revenge because they all abandoned me, but everyone just thought he died, It's like, he was a great guy, he really helped. And then he died, it sucks that he died. So I don't understand where this whole thing came from, except he wanted to make a thematic point, except it isn't relevant to any of the other themes of the story.
They can recognize the plot holes, and then they're confused on why the show's bombed and like it doesn't work. Why people don't want to watch it.
And make it just the Time Lord's original sin. Their first experiments.
Right?
Big fine.
You can have that idea there and just not have it to Omega. Now, the idea itself, in my opinion, is not that interesting, but the idea of the whole Wish world is also not that interesting to me in the first place. Like, for me, right? Obviously, the episodes, they don't really work on a moment-to-moment logical basis, right? But beyond that, the problem is just how unoriginal they are, for me. Can you stop copying yourself, please?
And that's how you bring back, like, an old Time Lord that realistically no one gives a shit about, like, who is an older fan, is the way they did with Wrestle. And they didn't name drop him and go, oh god. They name drop the Time Lord, something that's been built up, right?
Yeah.
Over the past 4 series, something that the audience actually gives a shit about because it's been built up so much. Could you imagine instead of dropping like name dropping the Time Lords, they name drop Rassilon? The audience would go, "Who the fuck's that? Why have we name dropped him?"
Was it for me, right? It's so odd seeing season 2 where the Rani is the main big bad, because I mean I know it's been a meme since pretty much 2010, right? When's the Rani coming back? But it's basically the equivalent of bringing back the fucking Vervoids, right? Like no one liked the Rani really, right? Time of the Rani is one of maybe the worst episodes like fucking ever. This is like 30 years from now, there's a new reboot, and everyone's like, can you bring back the villain from Praxeus? Right? It's like, well, that's a thing from the past, but like people didn't really like Praxeus, and the villain isn't really that intriguing. Like, oh, but there's such an interesting idea there to be told with microplastics, and it's like, is there? Is there really? Is it just
about the fucking Autons? Fucking, you know what?
In that you watched it in the cinema, I'm sure there was like a buzz in the audience around you that you could feel.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's the kind of the Rise of Skywalker effect where you're like, so nothing makes any sense. All this is kind of bad, but you know, you can kind of enjoy it, right? Like, there's a little bit of action, and then I don't need to watch the film again, right? I don't know where you are on this, but I personally don't think that there will be a next episode, right, of the show. I think it ends here. And so the only real next...
I just find it so interesting that they can say all these bad things about the show, but they refuse to call the show bad, right? Like, they know there's things wrong with it. It's becoming bankrupt, bastardized, but it hurts them to say that something's bad about the show. And I don't know, it's just that lack of honesty, that lack of awareness, that pain. Maybe that just makes me happy. It just puts a smile on my face. And that's because it's funny. Like, just say it's bad. We already know it's bad. Just say it's bad. And then maybe if even the diehard fans are saying it's bad, they'll give us something good. Like, once enough people band together and say it's bad, they have to do something different, right? They have to.
60th anniversary where David Tennant's sitting in that garden and he says he's never been more happy in his life is meant to be the end of like New Who, right? That's meant to be the end of that era, and it makes sense. I don't mind the ending. I think that's fine. I think it's got its issues, but like I prefer that ending to
what for this one.
Yeah, like if we're ending off the era.
The reason why I hate it is because it's basically what this is, right? Which is an ending, right? It's an ending to the show, right? Realistically, Doctor Who could end with the Doctor settling down and doing all of that. I personally think it's massively out of character, like real blatant character assassination and just really shit for the show, right? But then it does it anyway in the reality war. So it probably should have just ended in the giggle, right? Because...
And you know, there is it's unfortunate, but like whatever.
It would be
leaving it on this image.
Like, it would be a fan favorite way to end it, right? It wouldn't appeal to me, but I'm not really talking about that now because
right?
Fans would love it in the same way where I don't like Twice Upon a Time, but fans do like that story, right?
Yep.
And it would be a way, like a way to end it where fans would enjoy it. How about this, right? There's a 2-year hiatus after that. And then season 1 and 2 come out combined as one 16-episode series.
That's what they should have did.
Would that be better? I think so.
That's what they should have did. Then they would have had time to rewrite stuff, refilm stuff, think about it, reshoot it, instead of being reactionary and salty all the time. That's what they should have did. And then they could have been like, hey, look, we have a whole season, a proper season of Doctor Who, 16 episodes. Like, you're gonna have to take a break eventually to record stuff anyway, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously we can't go back in time and change timelines and all of that. It does just seem like a massive shame that all of these big decisions were made when we were promised so much. We were promised yearly Who, all of this stuff, and then they make consistent errors that they systematically go back on all their promises. And it's like, as someone who, I've been championing Doctor Who when it was like really unpopular to do so, right? I'm talking like the time the children came out. But then we go to the RTD2 era, right? And I've been championing it when everyone was back. Then I was championing it with Space Babies when everyone thought it was gonna get. And then with Empire of Death, and then with the Robot Revolution, and with all of these episodes. And I've been always saying, you know, I'm so pro and positive. And then it feels like a real kind of spit in the face, and like a why did I do all of that? You know, I just feel like an idiot. I don't regret it because I was being true and honest, right? I wasn't doing it just for the sake of saying, oh, I like Doctor Who. I genuinely thought it was good. But I kind of feel like a clown now because everyone is saying all this stuff that they've kind of been saying for years.
You see Neil Gear? He's self-aware enough. He's self-aware enough. This was just his rock bottom. He was like, man, people have been saying this shit for years. And now, only now is he realizing, oh, they're right.
Except I can't deny it now, right? People have been saying, oh, Doctor Who's going to get cancelled. They've been saying that for years and years and years and years. And I've been saying, no, it won't, no, it won't, no, it won't, no, it won't. Now they say it. I've got to say, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Most likely,
what I mean about it, right? Like, you guys don't understand that I've been literally championing this character before they were even shown on screen, right? Like, that's how big a fan I was. And then, for the rumor that she probably wasn't meant to be in the season to come true, it like, why did I say all this stuff if I knew like the stuff?
And this is the moment where I was like, I really want to A-log him and I need to fucking record this. He said, I was championing all of this stuff from the beginning and now I'm just like, why did I say all this stuff? This is just so sweet. It's like other people's tears taste so sweet. I'm gonna open a beer to that. That was so good. Tell it to us again, DWFan91.
See here, what's Belinda's role going to be to like the antagonist, though she has no connection to them whatsoever?
You can't assassinate a character that was never there. Belinda, since the start of the season, was annoying, and just a blank slate piece of cardboard, piece of wood. Honestly, just sitting there the whole time, nagging the Doctor to get home, which we completely retconned. So, and they were able to retcon her entire personality and motivations and what she was about this season because she was about nothing the whole season. She didn't have a boyfriend. She didn't have a kid. She didn't have any of that stuff. She worked a job like all of us. But you know, because the Doctor looked in her whole timeline, then went back in time to protect her growing up, aka grooming her, that makes this a love story. Yeah, that makes this all a love story now. And it's this beautiful thing, but Belinda always sucked. She still sucks, and we're not going to get any more of her ever again because she was a terrible idea and a terrible character. Okay, that's enough glaze. That's enough. There's a really good video called "What's the Sixth Doctor Character Art?" A good idea. I already listened to it. Maybe we can listen to it again. Go like this video.